after 4. Thank you all for coming, teachers, administrators, visitors, members of the public. We're going to start this afternoon with roll call, and we have 6 board members present, so we have a quorum. So this meeting is legally binding and it's open for business. The first thing we're going to do this afternoon is to vote to approve our agenda.
So move.
Second.
Okay, is there discussion about the agenda? Okay, all in favor of approving the agenda? Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries unanimously. Item 4 is our invocation and pledge of allegiance. And this afternoon we're going to be led by Baden Little and Race Giles in the pledge and prayer. If you two guys will stand up. You can go right there to the microphone or the end of the table, either one.
Or you're good right where you are. I don't think they want to move.
Okay.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you'll join me in a prayer. Lord, thank you for this day, and Lord, just let us have a safe meeting and safe travels home.
Amen. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Okay, so item 5 on our agenda is a list of visitors, and first, Mr. Davis, Todd Davis, is going to address us about Verbena Design. Mr. Davis.
Good afternoon. How are y'all doing today? We had the board members down Monday afternoon to walk through school, and actually got an opportunity to show some of our board members the Verbena designs at our cyber cafe. I just thought it'd be a good idea to address the board and address the visitors that are here about how that came about. So, Ms. Stevens, you can go ahead and start. In 2015-16, I was the assistant director along with Mr. Norman at the Career Tech. Mr. Norman went to Mobile County to view their career technical education in some of their schools. They have academies based within their schools that is specific for the needs of those students at that school. And Mr. Norman came back and wanted to implement an academy at one of our schools revolving around some of the things that he saw down there. In the spring of 17, I got to work on the advanced ed external review team for Mobile County, and also was amazed at the amount of time and effort and money they have put into their career technical education programs at each of their schools. When I was got the opportunity to go to Verbena to be the principal, I contacted Mr. Norman about maybe doing that within our school. And we discussed that, and along with Mr. Glascott, they agreed to place the academy there around a program we saw at Theodore. We had training for one of our teachers to implement that program. She ended up leaving the district, so we had to get her to come back and train. But it's kind of evolved into 3 of our career technical education programs at our school, working together for a school store and project-based learning where students can actually design and create products that's sold in the store each day. It also allows our students to be active participants in the instruction and the learning process of our school. And Ms. Glascott talks all the time about business and industries. We do a real good job of educating our kids. Content knowledge, they're very, very well suited for the workforce. 2 of the things that they're not suited for is collaborative working with others and time constraints about when you work at 10 o'clock, you need to be here at 10 o'clock, not at 10:15. So those 3 programs that we have is a collaboration between our marketing, which is brand new to Verbena High School. Ms. Leslie Devers teaches our marketing program. Samantha Robinson teaches our family and consumer science program. And then Mr. Bobby Sullins teaches our agri-science. And they create, design, and produce goods that are sold in our school store during the day. That is open to the public. We'd love to have you come by and check out some of our products.
This is a video, actually, that one of my marketing students compiled, just to kind of give you a visual to everything that Mr. Davis has just shared with you. I don't know why it's doing that. It told me earlier I didn't have, it's continuing on my laptop, guys. So I had no idea. Anyway, what we wanted you to see is some of our work that the kids have learned, and yes, it is project-based learning. They come in with ideas, they're able to create those through the computer program that we have, which was the beginning of the process, because you can't create anything if you don't know the programs. So this is an ongoing project. And I promise this was a whole lot better than what it showed. But anyway, we just appreciate the opportunity to bring that to Lorena, and our children have really enjoyed it and look forward to you coming to visit, whether you come for a sandwich or whether you come for a clothing item. So we'd love to see you.
And today, the Montevallo Outdoor Scholarship Program through the University of Montevallo, that was 150 items that our students did during the instructional day for the University of Montevallo. So it's been, our kids have really enjoyed the process of being hands-on and being an active participant in creating and producing goods within the school, instead of sitting in a desk all day doing book time. So, and I do appreciate Mr. Norman purchased several $1,000s worth of equipment for us to be able to have that program at our school.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Wow.
Davis. Next, under visitors, we have recognizing CIS for their report card. We asked Ms. Pitts to come in. Ms. Pitts had outstanding test scores on this year's state report card, and then also I'd like to make mention that the school where she was previously continues to have good scores on their test as well.
That's great. First thing I'd like to say is that I need to purchase that Robina shirt that said bossy on it. And I'll have to say this too, that was a wonderful video, and so next year when Klein Intermediate School gets to come back, we'll have a video too. How about that? Would like to have all of my faculty that's here, not everybody could come, but I'd like for them to stand up so we can see who they are. Anita Price, you make sure you're in there too. Jody, you stand up too. I know you in Romania, but she was part of that process last school year. And these are not all of the teachers, just the ones, like I said, that could come. We have Mary Brown here. You cannot have a successful school without your front office staff, and Ms. Brown does an excellent job, and your custodians, the lunchroom, the PE teachers. I mean, it's just the whole school working together as one. In the summer, before the school year started a year ago, we talked about, we had data meetings in June. These people showed up in June to have a meeting. And we talked about making Clanton Intermediate School the pride of Chilton County. And you can see the results of that. These people here have looked at data. They know how to read data. They are able to assess their children, then go in and look at all that data and determine what their next steps are in their instruction. These people get there early. They stay late. They're there to get the job done. You're getting your taxpayer money well earned right here with these people. They worked very hard last year. We brought in some new programs. We talked about these programs. We brought them in. They jumped in there learning how to use the programs and learning how it can benefit all of their students. And with all their hard work, we did have the highest report card score in the county. And they exceeded the state's average also. So I think that I'm proud of them. It's a great faculty. I've gotten to learn them. I thank Mr. Glasscock and this board for sending me down to Clayton Intermediate School, because without that action, I would not have learned all these people and realized what a great, fantastic group of people they are, and they are there for the children. They are there to make a difference in the lives of our students, and you can't ask anymore. It just gives me a lot of pride when I pull up on that campus and I see them, because they are there for our children, their future, to make a difference. And does anybody got anything they want to say? They're so sweet and all, but it's a sweet bunch, and we thank you for this opportunity. Thank you. I didn't want to stay too long. Anita Price there, she's helped us out, and last year we couldn't have made it without her. And she now is at Clayton Elementary School working, trying to help build up the group that's coming to us, and we're just very pleased, very proud, and we thank you for letting us come and shine today. Thank you very much. Or two to say. Okay. I have told this faculty that they are the ones that did it, because I can say all day long, I need you to do this, I need you to use this program, we need to look at this, but they are the ones that did it. I can talk all day long, but without them saying, hey, I'm going to do that, that's going to make a difference. So all credit goes to them, and I'm thankful.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and then lastly, under visitors, we have Baden Little and Race Giles, who did our pledge and prayer. We're going to ask them to stand up and just give us a little bit of information about serving as pages this summer.
Awesome.
Good afternoon. It was an honor and privilege to be a Senate page for Cam Ward in January. We were invited to be pages for the first week of legislative session of 2018. We were at the Senate House for the announcement for the Toyota Mazda plant announcement, and additional sessions to hear debates and tax amendments. We attended several more sessions regarding bills that had been turned in for the first session. It was very interesting to hear the debates and arguments for and against each bill. It would hear one point of an argument with them, only to think twice or agree with someone else presented a different point of view. We were there for Governor Kay Ivey's Senate of the House address. We toured the Capitol and the legislative chambers and met personally with Governor Ivey. It was an experience Race and I will always remember. Thank you.
I understand they were instrumental in getting our teacher pay raise on the floor. Is that right?
How about a retired teacher?
That will go back, Mr. Mims, if you need.
Okay, thank you all that spoke. Item 6 on our agenda is the minutes from January 23rd and February 9th. We need a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there discussion about the minutes? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes from January 23rd and February 9th? Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries unanimously with 6 votes. Item 7 is Finance Department, and under Finance, first we have Letter A, the monthly financials and bank reconciliation as presented by Ms. Williams.
And I'm going to present January this month. We should be at 33%. We are down as far as our revenues this month. We're at 17% because of our local revenues. In January, they normally kind of take a downward turn. As far as our expenditures, we're at 25%, so we aren't quite up to the 33%, but which is fine. And we are currently at a 2.45 operating fund.
Any questions for Ms. Williams? Okay, on Finance 7B, we need a motion to approve the policy addition. And this is the policy about worthless checks that's been sitting for 30 days.
So moved.
Second.
Is there discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the policy addition? Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries unanimously. Item 8 is personnel. We need a motion to approve items A through F.
So moved.
Second.
Is there discussion?
Abstain.
Okay, further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries 4-1 with 1 abstention by Ms. Price. Item 9 is teaching and learning, and we need a motion to approve teaching and learning requests A through D.
So moved. Second.
Okay, is there discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving teaching and learning requests A through D? Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries unanimously. Item 10 is the school and shop request, and we need a motion to approve requests A through H.
So moved.
Second.
Is there discussion?
I've got several questions. Clanton Middle School, the soccer, do we have a coach for soccer?
We will have, we're gonna get the program now.
Okay, G, the maintenance, the paint service bids, and the plumbing bids.
Yes, ma'am.
We have not voted to take bids on these. In November, we rejected them, and Mr. Moore, it was in the minutes, asked, were we gonna rebid them? And you said that Mr. Smith would have to get quotes on these jobs?
Mhm. And he did up until the time we rebid it. Board doesn't approve to bid it, the board just has to accept the bids.
Well, I kinda have a problem on bids then.
Okay?
Even though we didn't vote to take bids,
Mhm.
there's some controversy on workman comp insurance.
Okay.
On the one you're wanting us to accept with the plumbers, he states that he doesn't have it. On the painter, he states he has it, but we don't have a copy. But the other person states that he doesn't have to have it, just like the plumber is stating that it's not state required, and the other person was the cheaper of the bids.
I would refer that to the board attorney. I think that's a conversation we've had already.
Well, it is, some people are exempt based on the number of employees they have. I assume that's the certification that they're giving, the reason they don't have it. They can't conclude on their own that they're not required to have it, but if they fall in that statutory requirement of being exempt, then they don't have to furnish it.
Okay, well then, if that's the way I understand it, we need to switch our painter bid, because the other painter was cheaper.
Well, actually, it wasn't. You have to take the, we rolled this to Mr. Jackson as well for an attorney's opinion. He was cheaper on the master and he was more expensive on the helper. So we asked for 2 of those, and so we asked for an opinion from Mr. Jackson. And Mr. Jackson's opinion was.
The overall bid
Yes,
was a
but
cheaper
you look at
bid.
the overall,
Mhm.
you can take both of those and combine them, then he was cheaper.
Mhm.
So we didn't have to vote to rebid these, Mr. Jackson.
No, ma'am, because the reason for it is that you have control over the bid process by voting on the bid itself.
Okay. All right, then my other question is, under this construction foreman job description, who came up with this job description?
Mr. Smith, Freddie Smith, along with myself.
Well, it's kinda, I mean, I pulled it, his job description, and his maintenance supervisor job description, and they're all the same. And as a matter of fact, Mr. Glasscock, I would like for this to be removed, because you sat in here at our work session and said you wanted us to go over this, and you wanted it put on the agenda so we could vote on it, we could post this job, and you named the person you wanted hired for this job.
I never said that the person that I wanted for the job, the person that I mentioned in that meeting, had the skill set for this job. There's no way that I don't make it a habit of promising people. I certainly don't have the authority to put somebody into a position. That would be in violation of the posting law, Ms. Price, and I do that quite often. But to my knowledge, in my 3 years here, I don't think I've ever been in violation of posting law.
Who will do the interview on this? I'm sorry.
Mr. Smith, I'm assuming would form a committee.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, we have violated the posting law. I have proven that before too, but I'm not for this job, and especially with that comment, and the person that you commented also put up a pavilion that I had to call the state on that was falling in that had to be redone. So that person, in my eyes, is not qualified for the job anyway, but I would like for this to be removed.
Well, you will certainly have the opportunity to vote that up or vote it down.
Is there other discussion? Okay.
The salaries that are here,
Yes, sir.
how does that
It's the same as the
compare to
maintenance
the,
one.
as a maintenance?
Yes, sir. It's in line with maintenance.
Is that everything, Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Okay, all right, all in favor of approving the school and shop requests A through H? Any opposed? Okay, so that passes 4-2. Okay, item 11 is maintenance projects, and those, again, we'll do a motion A through I.
Move that we accept the projects.
Second.
Is there discussion?
I would like to say that looking over this in our work session, you did give us, there's some concerns. You gave us a copy of a document that was back in 2015 where the roof at Verbena was looked at. And it's very obvious in that report that it needed replacing then instead of us doing some patchwork or repairs on it. And I'm also concerned because you gave us a document when we were touring the other night. It was told to us that we had a contract to get $13,000 worth of repairs. The copy of the contract says $7,500. When we was in the work session, it was brought up that we were getting repairs at CIS on this. And I'm also concerned that we're giving money for field houses, which it has been renamed to PE facilities, which they all have PE facilities. And we have a school that's in dire need of repair or replacing or something, and Thorsby, Jemison, and Chilton County High did not get money on their field houses. And my other concern is the Jemison High School Stadium. There was discussion at the work session that the board had paid for Chilton County High School Stadium, and it was not paid for. I believe Mr. Mills recalled that when Ms. Ellison was in here and I spoke with Ms. Ellison to verify the story since we were closed yesterday and I couldn't look up minutes. And she said that it was the story that Ms. Hand was giving out, that when the board loaned the money to the athletic club or whatever, that was when she wasn't superintendent. She came in, the auditors caught it, it had to be paid back. We have not paid for stadiums, we have not paid for field houses, and we have got to have buildings for our students, y'all. I mean, it concerns me that we're spending this money on extracurricular activities and not on buildings for our students.
Okay, is there further discussion?
Talking about the situation at Ravenna down there the other day, that Mr. Smith said that the roof repair is underway and that everything that's wrong with that school will be repaired or replaced. If that's the case, then I'm good with it.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's not what the contract said that you got a copy of, Mr. Moore. As a matter of fact, in this contract, the only thing that's mentioned in this contract is the repairs over the teacher's lounge, not where the floor had fell out in the home ec room in the 2 spots, or the leaks and
Those are
lunchroom.
under maintenance, I think maintenance department's planning to handle those repairs.
You talking about the roof
Mhm.
that had fallen in the home ec
Mhm.
room?
It's not listed on this contract.
No roof ceiling.
But, yeah, the ceiling, I'm sorry. It'll have to be fixed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and that's why we put in there not to exceed 15,000. So that, and Mr. Smith, who has the flu, by the way, would have been here today to answer these questions, but the 7,500 in the original contract you have is the building in which we toured where the lounge area is. And then they toured and did core samples over the home ec to make an assessment on it as well. So between the two, they assured us that it would be around $13,000. And so I just asked that the board not to exceed 15,000.
Is there further discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the maintenance projects A through I? Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries 4-2. Item 12 is old and new business.
I would like to know if we've looked into maybe getting a police officer in the schools with all of that came up. I put it on the table before that I spoke with them. I mean, we could take $100,000. Here we just gave $100,000 for a field house and we're not worried about putting a police officer in our schools. I mean, I just feel like we got our priorities in the wrong place. We're not concerned with our students here, is the way I feel.
Let me know when you're through, Ms. Price.
I'm through, go ahead.
13A.
I have that under the superintendent's report. If you had an opportunity to review it, you would see that.
I did review that and see that, but I didn't see anywhere where we're gonna put
Wouldn't you think
officers
that
in
would be
there or
the time to
anything
discuss
else.
it would be under the superintendent's report since it's spelled out?
Well, usually not, because usually I'm told, you know, older new business, I don't ever bring anything up at the right opportunity. It doesn't seem like, but,
I just know the only issue that you brought up so far is addressed in the superintendent's report.
okay.
All right, we'll move to item 13, superintendent's report. A, school safety.
Yes, give me just a second. I apologize. As Ms. Price had mentioned, there's been much discussion about school safety and school security. I probably fielded over 100 calls in the last week since the horrific incident in Parkland. I don't know the answer, but I think together as a board that we're gonna have to try to figure out what the answer is. I'm all about the resources. As soon as it happened, I've been on the phone with Derek Wright with EMA. I have been on the phone with Chief Fulmer at Jemison. I spent 30 minutes with Chief Barnett at Thorsby. I spent this morning with the mayor of Clanton about partnerships. I do believe that we need to react to it immediately. And I think the municipalities are prepared to partner with us. I have some concern about whether or not we're going to put an SRO in the school or whether we're going to put a police officer in the school. Those of you that may or may not know much about SROs, the job description outlined in an SRO is kind of unique. It limits the power of an SRO when they're inside that building. And in most cases, the SRO has to reach out to have a police officer in case there is an incident at school. So I feel like moving forward, and we have a meeting on Thursday with Chief Fulmer, who's really kind of pushed this, and we've had a lot of conversations about it. I think there's some ways that we can partner with municipalities. One chief in the county mentioned officers who are rolling off duty who could roll back on, that we could provide X amount of dollars for them to be in our schools, to work a double shift. Jeff State is probably the best example I've seen. You'll never walk through the doors at Jeff State when you don't see a security officer in the front desk. I think if we can place those officers at the front desk, that's going to be the best deterrent. They may very well be the ones that need to unlock the door in our colleagues' door. But we have spent thousands and thousands of dollars since January 1st of 2015 having to change out doors in our schools. The state fire marshal came in at Chilton County High School. We had doors that were chain locked at the auditorium. You cannot chain a door shut in case of a fire. That exceeded over $50,000 worth of repairs just at Chilton County High School. Every school in the county, and I have to applaud Mr. Smith, and his maintenance crew have replaced every door in this district, and we now have panic locks on every door. Yes, we have had doors propped open, and that's probably a habit that we're gonna have to overcome, and I don't know how we get there. But it is certainly aggravating for the way our buildings are built. When you walk out of a building, out to another building, unless we put tunnels from building to building, you have to have a teacher in the classroom. You have to have somebody knock on the door and get up and go let those students in. It seems at this point that's the only option that we have. I was at Thorsby the other morning, and if I were gonna be a shooter, I would just pull up in front of my Zales and I'd wait till those 110 kids went out to PE. I wouldn't worry about whether or not SRO was inside that building. So we are working diligently, but we didn't start doing this just when all of a sudden there was a school shooting. We have we're mandated by the state to do monthly drills. Mickey Hartwick, who serves as our Safe School Coordinator, has to document those. It's all put on the website. Ms. Price, you mentioned a work session. I presented at this work session, which I know you're not going to mention this, about our Safe School plan. We brought our Safe School Coordinator and showed our board members what's going on in our schools. When I have a parent to call me and ask me, I want to know what's going to happen to my child when an active shooter walks in the room, we can't divulge that information to a parent. But I can assure you, and I want to assure the public today, we have a plan in action should there be a case of emergency in one of our schools. And I've been beat up pretty bad over that, and that's part of being a superintendent. You just have to expect that. But I can assure you that I'm going to do my homework. And again, I have met with everybody in this county, and we're going to make sure that we're going to get police officers in our schools. And I believe that this is probably the best scenario and the best resolution until we can figure out how we're going to fund it next year. So I'm prepared to bring that back to the board next month. So I would ask you as board members, we bring a proposal back. It's going to cost this board some money to put this in place. So be prepared.
What time is that meeting Thursday? Can we attend as a board member?
No, you can't because I've asked for that meeting to be private with a couple of people. I have no problem bringing that meeting back to the board. At this point, it's not an open meeting to the board because we're going to be looking at some things that are certainly are going to be confidential when it comes to security measures, some of our schools.
I'd like to see us move forward with this, like you said, as quickly as possible, and
Yes,
get
sir.
something in place just as soon as we can.
Yes, sir. I'll make every effort to have that back to the next board meeting, or if we can get it in place quick enough, we will call a board meeting to have you guys approve it.
Well, we was quick enough to find money for them facilities, them PE facilities and field houses. I would hope we'd have been quick enough to find money for an officer, but.
All right. And on the other thing that we have that we are excited about, last year, year before last, we did our job fair out at Jeff State, and it went really well. So in speaking to our principals, they wanted to bring that back. We didn't do it last year, so we're going to have a job fair. You have that in e-board, and you certainly can write this down. The date's going to be April 5th, 2018. The time will be 4 to 7 p.m. We set it in the afternoon so that that our teachers, our aspiring administrators, whoever have the opportunity to visit. Our principals will be on site, and they will actually be doing interviews on site. So if you know somebody that's interested in a job in our county, I would ask you to reach out to them. Each school will have a table, hopefully a designated area for private interviews. We plan to advertise this in the newspaper, and we have the newspapers here today. Social media and send information surrounding universities. If you have additional ideas, please feel free to share. We're very excited about our up-and-coming job fair. And that's all I have, Madam Chairman.
Okay. Item 14 is to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second. Second. Is there discussion? All in favor of adjourning? Any opposed? You are adjourned. Thank you.